So we ended talking about hobos. I'm sorry I couldn't show that video, but maybe I'll be able to show it to you in class. So come to class. Now, as I've told you before, the saying, you go from Guatemala, Guatepeor, we went from bad to worse. Now, how can things get any worse, you ask? In the 1930s and 1940s, in this area that are there, they're called the Dust Bowl states. What happened is these are the Great Plains. You remember the Great Plains where people settled. They over-farmed this area, and so the land became very arid. And if you've ever been through Kansas, remember Kansas is the setting for the Wizard of Oz with the tornadoes. Horrible tornadoes come through here all the time. The winds are bad. So as these winds are coming through, they're picking the dust up, and they made these massive clouds of dust like this. And we call this period the Dust Bowl. So the Dust Bowl really starts in 1932. It's in the Great Plains, and it mainly affects farmers. And remember, the farmers haven't been helped out by these things, so they're going to have to leave everything they have behind and move. They packed up their trucks and they became transients. Now, as they moved, they were really seeking one area, and that would be California. And I'll tell you why California in a minute. But when they got to California, the Mexican farmers who had been there since World War I began to give them a derogatory nickname based on where they came from. They called them Okies. They also called them Arkies because some of them came from Arkansas, but that's neither here nor there. Now, Dorothea Lange, she's pretty important because she makes a lot of interesting pictures documenting this. One is called The Migrant Mother, and if I don't show it to you in here, I will show it to you in your packet. Now, the book that explained the plight of the Okies and what they went through is called The Grapes of Wrath, and it's written by John Steinbeck. He also wrote Of Mice and Men, dealing with how the people moved from Oklahoma to California. They were going to harvest, you can guess, grapes, Napa Valley, wine, etc. Because remember, bootleggers are still selling wine, even though it's illegal at this time. And so something important there. Now, they got there following one of the main routes or main routes, depending on how you look at it. From Oklahoma to California, it's called Route 66. And so this is how they got from Oklahoma down into California. So it's a main little road to get there. Now, to show you how bad things got, there actually was a painting, and this is a very famous painting showing a farmer here. It's been used, a lot of times for Halloween. They put eyes behind them and make them look like monsters, but it's actually called American Gothic. When we think of Gothic, we think of dark things, and there are some dark elements here. The man's wearing a dark coat. She's wearing a dark dress. You see dark curtains hanging. They are mourning something. They're mourning the loss of their farm. They're mourning the loss of their profession, their family, and so they're going to have to move, and so that's become synonymous with this time. Speaking of time, Time magazine, Life magazine began to be really popular at this time, and they put black and white pictures of famous people from the 20s and the 30s so everyone can enjoy. And I mean, anybody who was everybody was on Time or Life magazine. It's maybe kind of veiled in importance of putting people on there. They now cover mainly really good stories. Now, as bad as this was, in Hollywood in the 1920s, 30s, we call it the golden age of Hollywood. The best movies came out at this time. We have Gone with the Wind, we have Wizard of Oz, Walt Disney gets his start with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. All of these movies come out at this time. And so the golden age of Hollywood, even though we're in bad, people love to be entertained and distracted and not think about their state in life. Now, the last little section we have here will deal with how Hoover ultimately decided he was going to respond to these things and move forward.